Good morning. I'm back. I had a question asking that I elaborate on more on anxiety. So again, I have a few scriptures I'm going to go from, and I'm going to start at First Peter, chapter 5, verse 7. Actually, I'm going to back up and start at verse 6. It says, "Humble yourself, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that at the proper time he may exalt you." Verse 7, "Casting all your anxieties on him because he cares for you." So, yeah, at verse 6, it says, "Humble yourself, therefore, under the mighty hand of God." So, first of all, when we come to God, we have to humble ourselves, which means we have to make ourselves low. You speak to God. When I speak to God, I speak to God like I'm talking to you. Of course, I give him more reverence because he's God. He's the Almighty. I give him much more respect. But I talk to him like I'm talking to a person, like I'm talking to my friend, because that's who he is. He's our friend. He's our father. He's our creator. So you just have to humble yourself and just go to him and let him know, like, Lord, I'm not worthy of you, it's all about you. It's not about me. And then begin to tell him your problems, or begin to share with him what it is you want to share with him. Verse 7 says, "Casting all your anxieties on him because he cares for you." Now, as a believer, I wrote down some notes. As a believer, a follower of God, whatever affects us affects God, because he does care for us. He wants to get all in our business. He wants to meddle in every aspect of our life. So, the one who knows that God cares for him, as believers, we actually shouldn't have any anxiety because he's God. We know what he's done in the past for us. So we should just think and remember what he's done before and know that he'll do it again. We should just always have faith in him, you know. And we really shouldn't have any anxiety. But then again, we're not perfect, so we go through it. Sometimes we do get weak and weary, because we know who our Heavenly Father is. We really shouldn't have any worry. But this is a reference to Psalms 55 and 22. And that it says, "Cast your burdens, and he will sustain thee, and he shall never suffer the righteous to be removed." So, casting our burdens, again, there's nothing that we can't go to God about. Whatever trials or whatever we're going through, whatever heartbreak or whatever, we can take it to God. There's no secrets. He knows everything. Again, like I said before in the previous video, he knows what we were going to go through before we knew about it. He created us before time. He knew everything that was going to happen in our lives. So there's nothing off limits that we can't go to him about. So again, we could just take it to him, and whatever we're going through, God is there. Just let him know what it is. Now, it goes on to say that he will sustain. Yeah, he will sustain us, or he will. It says he will sustain thee, but same thing. He will sustain us. Now, because he's God again, so he will bear both us and our burdens, our problems, whatever it is. It's he will take what we're going through and take them upon himself. He will take over, he will lift that burden off us. And it's another promise of God, because everything that proceeds out of God's mouth is a promise, because we know he's not a man that he shall lie. But it's a promise of God, letting us know to a tempted and an afflicted soul that the Lord will carry you through. He will see us through the end. He has our back. He's gonna ride for us. He'll never leave us nor forsake us. He's God. He has us. And it goes on to say that he shall never suffer the righteous to be removed. Now, when a man is righteous, it's trusting the Lord and just depending on God, God will not allow him to be shaken. He will not allow him to be shaken. And what that means is that when how can I put it? When you trust in God and you work your righteousness towards him, Basically, you're safe in his arms. It's just as safe as you being in heaven. Just like you're just covered. You're like, because once you're in heaven, you're in the presence of God. Nothing can touch you. No one can touch you. So when you trust in him and just cast all your cares on him, it's just as grace. I mean, it's just as good as you being in heaven. So again, just continue to trust in him, and whatever problems you have, you can go to him first. I've said before, find you a prayer partner and get involved in a Bible-based church. But if you're not ready to open up to anyone, then you can just take it to God first. And again, he'll send you the right people in your life whom you can trust, the right people whom you can go to, and the right prayer partner. Just take everything to him. Pray about every single thing. First Thessalonians 5:17 says, do not stop praying. Pray, pray, pray. So again, take it to him, and he'll provide all that for you. And you will be safe in his arms. Now, another verse I want to talk about is Psalms 94:19. And that says, in the multitude of my anxieties within me, your comfort delights my soul. Okay. So basically what that is saying, what I got out of that in my study is that in all my griefs and all my sorrows, all my trials, all these meaningless thoughts that pass through my mind, so many of them are going through my mind. Anxiety is just another word for worry. So I'm worrying about this and I'm worrying about that, and I'm being burdensome and perplexed, you know. Through all of that, the psalmist David is saying, through all those thoughts that were going through my mind, there were some thoughts that gave me peace. Those thoughts that were pertaining to you, the thoughts that pertain to God, with all that was irrelevant that's going through my mind, I still found peace. I found comfort when I meditated on your word, when I thought about the good Lord, when I thought about what you did for me in the past, when I thought about how you brought me through before. It begins to increase my faith, because I know you will do it again. Because again, you are God, and you have me here for a reason, and you want me to succeed. You want me to be the best at what I do. And so all I need to do is just think about what you did for me in the past, and all of that will be shut down. Like all those thoughts, they're meaningless. But when I begin to think about God and how good he is, I can find peace through all of that anxiety that I'm experiencing. I can find comfort, and I can rest, and I can get some sleep at night, and I can focus more on making myself a better Christian. I can do this Christ walk more confidently. I can just stand out on God's promises and know who I am in him. And I can just be who he created me to be, and I believe, what was it? I want to say Proverbs. Let me see if I can look that up. Give me 1 second. Yes, Proverbs chapter 12, verse 25 says, anxiety in a man's heart weighs him down, but a good word makes him glad. So again, anxiety is, you're just worrying. It just weighs you down. It tires you out, and it just has you you know, just overwhelmed. But the B clause says, but a good word makes him glad. So again, stay in your word. Read upon God's promises. It will make you glad. It will make you cheerful. It will rejuvenate you. It'll give you a reason to smile. My pastor says all the time, when you have a relationship with God, you'll just start laughing, and no one has even told a joke. And those who don't know God, those who refuse to acknowledge him as God and give him his credit, they're looking at you like you're crazy, and they're wondering what you're going through. I don't know. You've been evicted. You lost your car. You lost this, you lost that, and they trying to figure out how can she still smile going through all this. And the reason you can do that is because you know that you have a God that's going to restore everything you lost. You have a God that has your back no matter what. It may look bad right now, but God has you. And he's going to give you what you need to make it. You might not be able to eat lobster and steak, but you know what? You won't go to bed hungry. I like bologna. I don't too much care for lobster. So that ain't nothing to me. You know what I mean? You may not have a car, but God will provide you with a job to where you can take public transportation. You can call Uber, you can get on a bus, or you can take the subway. You know what I mean? You may not have a big luxurious house, but you're not on the street. You're not homeless. So again, just cast all your cares and all your worries on him. Do not be anxious for anything, but by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, always be thankful. Make your requests known to him. And that's who God is. He wants to hear what you want, and then the more you spend time in his word, like I said before, the more you become more like him. So now your thoughts are like his thoughts. So now we're on the same track. We're rocking with God. And so what he wants for us is what we want for us. And he wants the best for us. And of course, we want the best for us. So again, those verses, I hope they help you. That was Proverbs chapter 12, verse 25. Psalms chapter 94, verse 19, and First Peter chapter 5, verses 6 and 7. Whatever you are going through, do not worry about it. Just take it to the Lord in prayer, and he will meet you right where you are. Again, I hope this has helped you. Remain prayerful, and God bless.